welcome to the line, Mr. Leon. How you doing?
Good, boys. Good. Nice to be here. Thanks very much for having me along.
Yeah, great to have you here, my man.
We love catching up with our members, hearing what's good, hearing what's working, hearing what you've put in place. So for those that are at home, I would like to set the scene, and then I'd like you to fill in some blanks. So this is what I know. So Leon, you joined us about 12, 14 months ago, sort of thing, in that kind of band. You've really worked on your team, your clients, your site, your office, your sales process, how you charge for quotes. You've signed some good contracts at some good margins. You've put in place some really nice systems around your team and how your team relay information back to the office so that variations and other things aren't missed. And you've bought some time back. You've been mountain biking in Tassie. You're off to Bali for 9 days. And you've achieved a certain level of a business maturity date. There's obviously levels, and you might want to progress further from here in a couple of years' time, but you've kind of achieved what we call a BMD, or business maturity date, a finish line for the business of where you're at. How far off am I? Can you fill in the gaps that I've missed? Give us a little breakdown of who you are, where you are, and what you're working on.
Yeah, sure thing. Look, yeah, you've definitely covered most of the the stuff that I've implemented since being with the TPP group. I guess coming into it, I really wanted to buy back time. That was the biggest thing for me. I'm not a money man. It's all about me having the time to do the things that I want to do. Those things that are important to me, like family, getting out and mountain biking and going away on holidays. So really, my focus was to make sure that I could information together around what we required as a business to make things better and more efficient, and for me to be able to step away from those jobs and hand them down to delegate to other people. So that was the biggest thing that I really focused on, and did work really hard on getting those in place. So certainly exactly the systems that you've just spoken about, if you wanted to go into some of them, then more than happy to start working through them.
Yeah, man, 100%. So let's lay the foundation in regards to your role and the structure of your team. So who you got, what kind of work do you do, and what's the role that you play?
Yeah, sure. All right. So we're a small business, mainly looking at extensions and large-scale extensions and renovations, and also custom-built homes. So there's about 8 of us in total. We do have a work experience young fella that comes in on 1 day a week as well, which brings us up to 9 during the week. But so I'm the business owner, I'm the manager, and then underneath me I've got a construction manager as well, / supervisor. He manages the team of guys under him and the sites, and deals with the clients as well. Predominantly, his job is to move between the sites to make sure that they're running smoothly, to meet with his team, and to get the details from them that he needs to then bring back to the office for me. Each site we have a foreman, a site foreman, who is also a working carpenter, so carpenter / foreman, who then manages the team underneath them. So we typically run teams of 3. So we have the site foreman, we have a carpenter, and then an apprentice as well as part of that group, running about anywhere between sort of 5 or 6 projects a year. So normally 2 to 3 projects at each, running simultaneously or whatever. Projects are predominantly $500,000 plus. We try not to do anything less than that. To a rough turnover of somewhere between $2.5 to $3 million a year at the moment with that team, and that seems to be working pretty well for what we've currently got in place.
I love it. And where do you typically find your guys? Do you train them up from apprentices? Like, for example, the supervisor, / construction manager, did they used to be a foreman, or how have you chosen to find your guys?
It's funny, right? We're a very tight-knit group here, and it's funny, it's built over the last 12 years. So it's been 12 years since I started on my own, and I was just a single operator, right? And then I just got myself a team around me. So originally, the guy that is now my construction manager / supervisor was my apprentice back when I was a contracting carpenter. He worked me for a number of years after his time, and then we went off and did his own thing. Once I started up my own building company, he then sort of wanted to come back on board again, so I brought him back in as a working carpenter / foreman. And we've slowly built around him and the team that we've brought in as well. Funny enough, his brother came on board as an apprentice, so we've trained him up, who now has gone through the system, and now he is a foreman as part of the business as well. We've also brought in other Yeah, so like it's been a real tight knit group as far as bringing people that we sort of know, friends of that, and it's worked really well. So the group that we've got now has actually been around. Core group has been around for probably at least 7+ years. Even one of my other head foremen, who he's been around for nearly 10 years as well. So we've really got guys that have wanted to stay around. We've trained up apprentices. We really believe in training apprentices. We know that they're the backbone. We need these young guys to come through and take over from us as we progress through the ranks. And we want to give them the opportunity to do that as well. So we definitely love training the apprentices as well.
Awesome. So as your team has elevated, because you've done an awesome job of that career progression pathway, like you can point to three or four examples of that in your team. As that's happened, what's your career progression pathway look like? What have you stopped doing, and what does your existing role look like?
Yeah, cool. So definitely stopped trying to do the site related stuff. So I used to spend a lot of time going out of the office onto site, and that's become almost zero now. I mean, I get out there when I need to, but that has really been something that's been delegated to Tim, my construction manager. We've put into place stuff that they can deal with Tim, or they can deal with a site foreman for. They know who their site foreman is. We have a document that they're given that shows them who their site foreman is. It shows them who their construction manager is and how they can contact them. So that's really another area that I've been able to buy back time, that I'm not there spending a lot of time dealing with the client relation side of things. It's managed on that level from those guys. It's given me time to then look at the other things in the business and try and get that better as well. So that's probably the big thing. And then just buying back time to be able to, I guess, back things off from my side so that I can spend more time picking my kids up from school and that, which has been, taken to school, which has been important as part of, what I wanted to be there for as a father. So
100%, man. And that's the kind of stuff that you can't do forever. So, kids aren't going to want you to pick them up from school when they're, just about to finish high school. So it's got to make the most of it when you can. I love that.
100%. Yeah. So, yeah.
How did you decide what role in the office you were going to stop doing first, from between office management, pricing, project management, contracts administrator, sales? How did you decide what you were going to get off your plate first?
Yeah, I just looked at the ones that I guess that I didn't like that, because A, I don't want to do it, or B, I'm not good at doing it, or it was going to take me away from the office where I figure that that's my best time spent, right? Because that's where I would do my best work. So that way, if I'm traveling each day, meeting things, going to meeting clients, and that for not the right reasons, then it's taking the time away from what I should be focusing on. So that was one of the ones that I said, if I can get those things in place, let the boys deal with that, because they're great at doing it. I've just got to train them up and give them the right processes to do it. Then that was probably the biggest thing for me. I really enjoyed this, some of the office stuff. Like, I still want to hang on to some of that, which I still have, even though I know you guys have probably told me that I need to, focus on getting other people in. But it's somewhere where I guess I've enjoyed doing it, and I feel I've got a good overview of the business in that respect, and I can sort of see all the different moving parts, and I can manage it. So as long as I can manage it, then I'm happy in doing it myself.
Awesome. And what systems have been most helpful in that transition, either for you to what you're stepping into, and then secondly for your team to make sure that scheduling still runs smoothly, they capture variations, they're able to set up jobs correctly, etc.?
Yeah, sure. So great thing. So I've sort of listed some of those today because I think that they are really great, processes to have in place for everything. And so I guess it starts with the team first. So making sure that each one of them had a job description, they knew what their job was, they knew what they had to do each day. So, we've set up now the morning stand-ups. We've got the scrum boards going. They've got daily logs they do via Builder Trend now. So every single day we can see what's going on. They can upload that information. There's questions getting thrown onto that so that I can see that going. I can deal with it, or Tim can deal with it. So that's one of the things. The other was the client communication. Giving the client the information up front so they know, right? So when we sign contracts, or before we sign contracts, this is who we are. This is how we work with you. This is the process that we're going to go through in building your home or delivering your renovation project. And these are the people that are going to be helping you with that. So having that there so that they can clearly see it, they know who they are, and they can contact those people. And then also the client communication side of things, I've set up this, which you guys, want us to implement, was where we, at the end of every week, the document goes out to the client that I send to them that tells them what's happened for that week, what we had challenging, what we're still going to do, with any variations, was anything there that we still need information from then, and then what's happening next week, so they know what's going on. That information gets sent on a Friday afternoon from me. I deliver it every week at the same time. Then they know exactly what's going on, and they don't waste time asking me multiple questions throughout the week. Not wasting time, but it's costing me time to do that. So that was another big one, and also the variations procedure for them as well. Yeah.
So just on those, how specifically, because it's all about positioning that upfront with the client, the process, the benefits, here's how we're going to work with you. How did you position that meeting, and the report you send through, and B, capturing variations and signing them off procedure? How do you position that in the first or second conversation with them?
Yeah, so look, I definitely, a lot of my stuff comes from, a lot of our work, I should say, comes from referrals. So definitely client referrals, and that, so they know that process has probably already happened anyway. But the first thing that I sent them is that information pack, right? So that is already a 12-page document that covers a lot of that stuff already. And then it becomes part of the conversation when you're talking about costings and contractual things and all that sort of stuff. It just becomes part of that. Some of them are a little bit earlier in the process where they might want to know a little bit more earlier on, but certainly we have that conversation. They've already seen who their, the document's been given to them, who their foreman and stuff is, and then the process is about the variations, which can become part of the, let's say, part of the contractual talk as well, because there's obviously variations as part of that in the contract signing. So again, we'll reflect back on that as well. So it depends to each client as where it does come in, but certainly the first thing I sent them is that information pack, which covers the vast majority of that information.
Nice, cool. So I just want to switch gears here for a second, Leon. Like, I'd love to understand, because we caught up like 4 weeks ago now, maybe. We were in Melbourne. We caught up with some other members, and you turned up. And you had this cheeky grin on your face, and you go, "Yeah, just signed up another client." And we're like, "Awesome, man! How did that go?" So you walked us through on the day how you charged for your quotes, confirmed a good margin, and you're pricing for profit, and that you then sign the agreement on your way to dinner with us. So walk us through your sales / pricing process, because it ties what we've just been talking in as well. Info pack, presentation of quote, all that sort of stuff. So do you mind just walking us through that, generally speaking?
Yeah, sure. All right. So I guess to tie it together a little bit is maybe just looking at the network side of things and who I've got as part of my network and how that ties in. So I guess network, I've got a couple of architects that I work alongside, and also a designer as well that I work alongside. So I do get some work from them. And I've been trying to, teach them the benefits of getting a builder in nice and early on a project, so that they can help the architect along the way, and also the client as well, to deliver a better job with more understanding and more structure around the costings and all that side of things, because I think that gets lost a bit. So since obviously implementing some these things into the business, being that this charging for quotes, which is always a really hard, I think early on for builders is a really hard thing to understand. When you're starting a business out, you're like, I can't charge for quotes. I'm only just starting. I'm trying to get my business going. I just need to get some work. And that's exactly where I was, right? But now that I've been there and understood how much I've done over the years of not charging for quotes and how much time I haven't been paid for, it's like, this is a no-brainer. I need to be doing this because, I need to be getting money for my time. So now we've implemented exactly what you guys have, taught us to do, which is to charge for quotes, right? And we call ours, well, in our process that we use, we call it a feasibility agreement. So we get in nice and early with the clients, right? We tell them that they're having us on board is only going to benefit them because we're going to save them money with consultants. We're going to save them time with their designers. We're going to save them time with spending money to getting to a point where they haven't got enough money, and then they've got to go backwards and it's going to cost them to redo all their plans and that. So we get them in nice and early, give them that information and show them how we're going to give them the best process possible to get to their, to their finished product. And we put a fee on that, and we make it, a good fee. We charge $3,500 for our feasibility agreement. It gives them 2 versions. So we do one version as the initial estimate, and then there'll be a second iteration of that, and then we finish it there. And from that point, it then goes, if they're happy to go ahead, then it goes to the construction phase of design work, and then we'll do our full fee proposal after that for a construction proposal, if you want to call it a quote. So that's something that has really we've had huge benefits from. I've sold multiples of them now. Some of them haven't gone all the way to construction, but a vast majority have. And the one we were just talking about the other week was, again, it was through an architect, and he's really understanding the value of having me on board early and getting that to the clients early. So we signed a feasibility agreement with them, delivered a preliminary estimate to them that they were happy with. And then from there, that we went to the next stage, which was actually locking in a construction slot for the job to go into. So again, that came at a cost as well. So we've already paid they've paid $3,500 for the initial estimate, or the feasibility agreement. And then after that, we went to the next, which was this construction proposal with a locking in a time for their build as well, giving them a date that we can actually start from. And then we've gone through the next stage with the job starting next week. So, it's a $1.2 million job, really good job, good margins. And we were upfront with everything as well. The client could see all my costs. Like, I've got them on a spreadsheet, because that's how the process works. So, there's nothing hidden. Everyone's out there, understands what it's going to be. So we have found huge benefits from doing that, and also getting paid for our time was another thing, that we really needed to do.
So good. Well done. And
what did you need to change mindset-wise? Because you hear a lot of people think, well, I can't do that because there's other guys offering free quotes. Like, that's not possible in my town or city. How did you decide that you were going to do things differently, and what would you switch mindset?
Well, really, the first thing was just me going, why am I doing these quotes and not getting paid for it? For goodness sake, I'm spending hours and hours and hours on this time, and you don't enjoy it. If you're not getting paid for it, who enjoys it? If you go to work and not getting paid, then why would you do that? And that was the big thing. But the biggest thing was you guys, I guess, coming on board and saying, hey guys, you need to be doing this. And then, I'm sure there's other members out there that have come out and said exactly what I've said. And I listened to them and just said, well, blood, I'm going to do it. What have I got to lose? What have I got to lose? And then they can only say no, right? So definitely it was that. Like, we all want to get paid for our time, and it's only fair. And the client understands that. If you say that to the client, listen, this quote's going to take me 16, 18, 20 hours. Like, would you want to do something for nothing? No, they wouldn't. And so as long as you're giving them and helping them understand that, then they get it. But it all comes back to, as well, Marty, is making sure that you're positioning yourself as the best, as their right builder and the best builder that you can possibly have. So again, it comes back to setting those foundations up early, presenting them with that you are the best builder for them, and then the decision for them is pretty much an easy thing, right? So I guess that's the, yeah.
Well done. And if you've got the volume, then you're not desperate to take a job either cheap and compete on price to win the job to keep you guys busy, or price it for free. Because if you've got plenty of deal flow, plenty of work coming through, you're booked out for your team's capacity 6 to 12 months in advance with work at a great profit, then you can position yourself, you can take that position. But a lot of people don't put the work in up front to make sure that A, they have good deal flow, and B, they're positioned as the go-to builder. Like, we have a separate trust account for your build, so I'm not running off to buy a Ford Ranger. We have a guarantee that's over and above the master builder's guarantee. These are our site systems. Here's our quality assurance checklist. This is Bob. Bob's going to be on site each day. Here's how we do our weekly reports, etc. They don't put that work in up front, even though they may be doing a lot of it. So the client doesn't see the value because they're not putting forth the process and sort of pulling back the curtain on how we work and how we make sure that your biggest investment of your life comes out how you expect it should.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. And those testimonials too, I guess, as well, like backing up that information that you send to them to say, right, here's a video testimonial, here's a previous client, here's a project we've delivered before, go and talk to these people, and having them as well, represent your business and put you forward as their, preferred builder. Yeah. No, I haven't. I think I'm just trying to remember how quickly I implemented something like that. I think it was probably about maybe between the 3 and 6 month process in the training that we started looking at that, and that became, and then I just had to obviously then get that document together and make it work. But again, it was just using a template that you guys provided, altering it to suit whatever we were trying to sell. And for us, it was what I like to call a feasibility agreement, because like I said, I'm trying to get in early. And a lot of these clients are trying to figure out whether this project is feasible for them. Is it going to be too much? Is it going to cost too much? Can we afford to do this? Yes or no, it's not. So I think that there was giving them good value in that, and taking the responsibility away from the designers or the architects, which they just sometimes don't have that understanding of what true costs are. So so I reckon it was around about that point that I did it. And I think since implementing it, so it's only been implemented maybe 6 months. And I think in that 6 months, we've sold 7 of them or something, 6 or 7 of them. So, at $3,500. So, a really good turnaround from, 12 months ago. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. Pleased to hear it. Fantastic. I'd like to switch gears a little bit again, since we've kind of walked through the pre-construction side of things. I want to jump into like the on-site systems and how they flow into the office and how you coordinate all that, because this is an interesting one. Like, quite often at the size that you're at, we're really looking at potentially the next person that we bring on being like a contracts administrator or a really strong office administrator or something like that. And you don't have somebody in the office full time, is that correct?
No, I haven't. It's all still done by me. I've obviously tried to delegate as much as I can down the chain, but that was definitely the next step for me, was to then look, okay, can I afford? Do I need what, as far as an office manager is concerned? Then that frees up that time for then, okay, what does that look like for me from there? Yeah,
totally. But you've done a good job of, because that person hasn't existed, you've had to ask the boys to step up and take care of their own shit often. So what is the flow of info back into the office? How do you manage that? Is it spreadsheet, pen and paper, software, daily stand-up? So what does it look like for you guys?
Yeah, sure. So so I guess the first thing is how we manage to maintain the system working, I guess, and we've got software that looks after that. So Builder Trend is our number one hub for everything. So it looks after our client communications, it looks after our site relations, it looks after our contract management and our scheduling as well. So, and again, it's an online portal that we sell to the client. So listen, you come with us, Build a Trend, it manages all that for you. You can see your live schedule, you can ask questions, you can see all your documentation. It's all kept in one place. So that's one big thing that I think that has been really helpful, is having that all in one place that's accessible from everybody, all parties involved, whether it be my guys on site, my clients, the office, whatever. Everyone's got that bit. So that's the first thing. The second thing is how the team of our team report back to me and to Tim as well. So each foreman is responsible for looking after their site as far as carpentry is concerned. They've got a carpentry team that manage that site. They have daily stand-ups and scrum boards. So again, we've got just a simple whiteboard up. The boys just put all their gear up, write the stuff onto, and then they'll take a photo of that and then upload that to Build a Trend. They'll do daily logs at the end of each day, telling us what they've achieved, any challenges, and just they'll do a video log. Normally it's done by a video log, and then we can see what's happened for the day. Even if it's a question around a detail or something like that, they'll just take a quick video of it, say, hey, Leon, we're not quite sure how you want to execute this detail. Here are the options that we've got. What do you think? And then I can respond to them in that manner. They also look after doing all the scorecards for the guys as well. So we all do scorecards. Tim, the construction manager, looks after doing the scorecards for the site foreman. The site foremen are then in charge of doing all the carpenters and the apprentices as well. And they report that back to Tim as well. And then he'll report back to me if it's required. So they're the sort of the way that the communication works between the site and also back to Tim, the construction manager, and then back to me in the office. But it all does come back to one central hub.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that, because quite often people will ask me that question. It's like, what is the answer? What is the secret? And like, there's no silver bullet. There's only ever lead bullets, right? And it's like, you've got daily stand-ups, a scrum board, daily logs. They're on video. It feeds through Build a Trend, but there's multiple people that are responsible for it. Like the foremen are responsible for the carpentry, and they're responsible for the success of the project. And then that goes to Tim, and then that comes to you as well. Like, there's not just one thing that's in play here. There's like multiple systems. You're almost building like a iOS, an internal operating system for everything to work around. So I love that. So using Build a Trend, you got the team with all their scorecards and everything. And then you said there was a third and final one?
So then the other one, I guess, is the, that's a good question. I did have something written down there.
Sorry,
lost on that
totally stole your thunder.
No, that's all right.
I'll just jump in there while it gives the brain cells a couple of minutes to keep on. I think there's a couple of overarching themes that you've done that are key to every successful building company. Is one, you've got clear job descriptions, clear scope, and accountability. So each person knows what they need to do, what the scorecard is, and whether they're winning or not, whether they're off track. So you can course correct very quickly during a project. The second thing is visibility. So forecast versus actual, any change orders, variations, etc. How we're going during the project, are we on time, leads to accountability. So visibility leads to accountability. If you don't have that visibility, then it's very subjective whether someone's doing a good job, are we on track, and you can't course correct because you don't know exactly where your work in progress is at.
Yeah.
But what you've done is made that all visible to everyone at different points, from toolbox meetings, construction meetings, etc.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm just. What did you have to do differently as a leader, or how did you change as a leader to install this into your business, this operating system?
Oh yeah, well that's a perfect question. Like, I had to look at myself and see where the business was failing, and the business was failing at me, because at the end of the day, I am the business. So I had to make a change. No one was going to make a change, without me doing it. So that was the biggest thing, and that's what actually sort of triggered me to come to you guys originally, is because I was at a crossroads there where I said, well, either I've got to make a change or the business is going to fall. So that's it. So then I chose to go down that right path, which was getting myself that understanding, because at the end of the day, I didn't have those skills. I know I've only come through as an apprentice to a carpenter, and a carpenter to a business owner, right? So I didn't have that business mindset in me. So I needed to be put on the right path. I needed to understand what I needed to be doing to make things better and to create a better team. And a team will only be good with a good leader, right? So if I'm not a good leader, then I've got no hope of running a good team. So by putting these things in place and slowly, methodically working through them, and I guess understanding which ones were most important for my business, what I was lacking in, what the business was lacking in, and then strategically trying to make sure I tick those things off in an order, rather than running around trying to fix all little problems. Let's just dial in the ones that are the most important. So I feel as though the time that I've been at TPB doing this stuff, I've really dialed in on the ones that are going to make the most, the most different, or the biggest difference. And that was just purely around me getting a good team who already had a good team, but making them better by understanding their exact roles, what the requirements are, how they can be the best implemented into the business the best, and providing that information for them. So again, that comes to training as well, learning from you guys how I can be a trainer, and then giving that to my team as well, and saying, guys, this is what we need to be doing, and having those meetings. Yeah.
I love it. I think a strong desire to win, getting a clear plan for you and your situation, and then looking at which holes do we plug in what order. And you can do that from a numbers perspective. So the monthly management meetings, like how many leads, conversion rate, average dollar sale, margin, etc. And secondly, on the roadmap overall, like, where are my holes? Like, am I having team challenges? Cool. Well, do I have job descriptions? Do I have scorecards? Do we do a team toolbox meeting, et cetera, as you go up? The big one I'd like to ask now, though, is most building company owners are very busy. How did you carve off the time, and how much time did you allocate each week to put these systems into your business?
Yeah, cool. I basically did my default diary, right? That was the thing that you had to do first. Like, where's all my time going? If you don't understand where your time is, then it's, then you've got no chance of actually figuring out how you're going to implement things and where you're going to do them. So you definitely need to time manage correctly, right? If you can delegate some of those things to other people, and that could be external sources as well as internal sources. You don't have to look at people that are already employed. You can utilize other systems outside of your business to do that. But if you can get that done and take that time away, then you can use that time to spend on fixing those other things or what you want to do inside the business. And did I spend a lot of time outside of hours doing that? No, I don't think that I did. I really think that I managed to do that within my 10 hours of every day. I tried to do 50 hours a week, right? So I was able to do that with, as well as running my business, I was able to fit that in by making sure that I got rid of those items that I was wasting my time doing, and someone else could do them for me. So that's the biggest thing I would say, is to make sure you can fit that time in by removing some of the things that you shouldn't be doing. And that's how I got time to do that. And then systematically just put the time down. Like you say, you've got to put it in your default diary to say, I am doing business management today for 2 hours. I have to do this. So if you don't do that, it just won't happen. It's simple as that.
Exactly. And I think looking at what's your PBR, what's your hourly rate, what's all the stuff that, like you say, you suck at, you procrastinate on, you don't like doing, someone else could do it better. And then on the freedom finder, what do we carve off? What do we delegate or stop doing? And then the last one, the default diary, your builder's perfect week. When are you working on the high dollar stuff? And for you, was that like first thing in the morning? Did you schedule lunchtime? So one is time, and the other one is, did you pick a different place? So some of our members will go and sit in a cafe and have breakfast and do a couple hours work. What did you do?
Yeah, look, I'm a creature of habit, and I like to be in my same place and everything like that. So everything I've done is basically from here in my office at home, right? So I'm in a home office. I'd put my headphones on, I'd turn off my distractions, and I'd make sure that I could focus. And so I'd just say to my site form, listen, I've got 2 hours today that I'm doing that. I'm not going to be available. I'm just going to be focused on doing that. And there wasn't specifically at any time that I did them. I think it was just that I knew that it had to happen. A lot of the times when I came off TPB calls or a training session or whatever, and you got in that mindset anyway, just go and knock it out now. I've got it there. It's fresh in my mind. Let's just hit it, get it done on a paper. And like, I guess one of the things that I did learn along the way, and I did say to Peter early on, is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, we always try and aim for perfection, but just get it out there. If it's at 60%, just bloody get the thing out there and let the rest happen, right? Because, if you try and aim for perfection, you'll never get the bloody thing out. So I think that was another thing that I learned as well, is just get a bit done and then let the rest of it, evolve as well. So, so I guess that was some insight onto how things should have played out for me.
Love it.
Awesome. You said something before that's really insightful to me, and it was like you had to recognize and self-reflect that you were a great builder, but now you need to improve and sharpen the skills of being a business owner. I totally believe in that as well. I think most management and leadership is the ability to manage and lead yourself first and foremost. So what were the symptoms that you saw that you were like, you know what, I need to fix this, rather than just be the frog in a boiling pot of water, slowly boiling to death? Like, what were symptoms that you saw that you then were like, had the wherewithal to go, there's a solution to this. I just need to be a business owner instead of a busy builder, just so that other people might be able to see those symptoms in themselves and connect the dots as well. Like, what did you see that triggered you to reach for help?
Yeah, sure. So I guess one of the things for me was just the time side of things. Like I just immersed myself so much in the business and that, and then the effect that it had on the people around me. Like my family and everything like that. So that was probably one of the things that sort of recognised that I wasn't being the best father and the best husband that I could be as well. So certainly that was one of the trigger points. Just frustrations on a daily basis, and really looking at it and going, well, where are they coming from? And the fact that there was just nothing in place as far as systems were called to deal with those. So everything just kept coming back to me. Everything just came back to me. And I'm like, well, I'm the one that's dealing with all these problems. Surely there's a better way to be doing this, right? So having that now and putting these things in place so that the clients are dealt with, so that the guys on site are dealt with. So I'm not constantly getting that railroaded and hitting that brick wall every day and then not being able to do more work. And then the other thing was just not charging the right for jobs, right? Like saying that I'm not getting paid enough for what I'm doing, and it comes down to not getting paid for variations, not getting paid for my quotes, jobs being at too low margins, whatever. And then saying, well, what do I need to do? And that's when I come, and when I started with you guys, and they're like, oh, you got to be charging your 20, 25%. You have to be doing that. If you're not doing that, then the business is going to suffer. So, that was the other side of things, was just understanding the money side of things as well, and realizing that, to have a profitable business, you need to be charging the right, the right margins and that for the projects. Yeah.
Huge. It's like often we we want to believe that we can participate in this like larger, wider economy sort of theory of like, oh, well, if I do it at this, kind of like my subbies will be all good, my team will be all good, my client will be all good. And that wider economy thinking is just like a false belief. Whereas like that's actually not how this operates. You need a per project profits to be well, and high margin businesses when we need to make sure that your per project profits are first and foremost dialed in so that you can support your team thereafter, support your subs thereafter, support yourself thereafter, support your family thereafter, right? So yeah, 100%. What does it look like now then? Like where are you at now in terms of some of those things that you saw? Like there's no such thing as perfection, but where are you at today?
Yeah, look, certainly, buying back the time thing has just been huge, right? Like things have changed so much on that level. Like I was just, talking to my wife on the weekend and stuff like that, and saying that, before, 12 months ago, 2 months ago, that I wasn't able to do these things. And now I actually am finding time to go away on a family holiday, that sort of stuff. Taking my kids to school and picking them up from school. My wife's just started back full time again, and I'm still doing those things, so it really has freed up a lot of time. And that was, again, I'll go back to saying that was the most important thing for me, was just buying back that time. It's not like I'm not hugely money driven. That's not what I'm about. But I certainly wanted to run a good business that made me a good living, but I had the time to do the things that were important to me. And that's the big change now, is I do have that time, and still, nothing's perfect, mate. We know that. Like my business is far from perfect. I know that. I'm not going to sit here pissing, pissing that it is, but it's better. Things are a lot better, and I can see how I can make things better as well. And now I've got that knowledge and that understanding, and just in myself, I've become a better person for that, and a better businessman as well. So, there's just skills that that I didn't have, and now I do. So it's been huge for me.
I'm interested in what you say there. Like you've become a better person. In what ways? Like karma, more patience? Like what do you mean?
I think, so that's a good question. So I think I've understood more how to deal with trouble, how to deal with problems, right? And we talk about this problem solving method, right? And that has really helped, as far as
PSR. It's so good, right? It's like take the monkey off your shoulders
and put it somewhere else. Help me make these, help me deal with these problems. And look, it hasn't completely got rid of them. Like let's be honest, we live in an imperfect world. Nothing is perfect, right? But it certainly helped for that to be. So I'm not getting as frustrated, where you just go, you want to yell and scream and that. You don't get anywhere doing that. I'm not that type of person. But you know what I mean? It's just helped me to be a little bit more calmer and not have as many of them. All right. That was the biggest thing, is to try and reduce them. You're always going to have problems, but you've just got to try and manage them and reduce them. That's all. So it certainly helped in that respect. So maybe, yes, it has made me more calmer. It's just, the job still has its stresses. Obviously it does. As a business owner, you've always got stresses. That's just part and parcel of that. But certainly helped me manage those things better.
Anything else, like confidence in what's possible, belief for the future?
Well, I think it's certainly given me more clarity on who or what I'm capable of doing myself as well. And it's, I guess, from this experience as well, it's actually opened up another area of thinking for me, where I want to start helping other people as well. I want to look at how I can benefit other people rather than just me, whether it be in my team or outside of that as well, because I believe I've got a lot to offer, to new prospects coming through, to apprentices. We've got 3 apprentices at the moment. One of them's just signed off, so he's come to me on Friday and saying, this is what I do, encouraging him to go out and do what he's wanting to do. I want to be able to, help other people as well. It's not always about me as a business owner. I think it's about what you can offer to other people as well.
Definitely. Well said.
Nice. So what does the future look like for you then? So from here, if we were sitting down 12 months from now having a beer, what does it look like for you and the crew?
Well, that's a really interesting one, Owen, and it's something that has been, it's certainly been flying around in my head lately, and I'm probably still working on what that's going to be, but I'd certainly like to think that the team has more opportunity in the business, is what I'm probably getting at, and seeing what they want to do as far as, brightening their future and giving them better future prospects as well. So at the moment, that's where I'm at. I am getting to a point where I think I need a break. I think that I've had 12 years now, and it's been full on. So I'm definitely trying to put things in motion now that gives me a little bit more time to step away from the business as well, and then just sort of reassess my future thinking as well. I guess what opportunities I've got there for myself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The exercise that is most relevant for that is the one that we do with our boardroom members called the 100-day holiday. So the 100-day holiday is exactly like it sounds. We take 100 days off, okay? But there's levels to this. So for example, bronze level is you taking every weekend non-negotiably and not working. If you take every weekend off, you actually have 100 days off over the year. I think it's like 104 or something, right? So the 100-day holiday could look like the bronze level, where you're just taking weekends off non-negotiably. It could look like something in the middle, where you're taking long weekends and you're stitching that over a holiday every 90 days and 100 days across the year through long weekends and whatnot. Or it can look like taking a 90-day block off, a full quarter, and pressure testing your retirement, pressure testing your management team. If I were to go away, what breaks, right? What's the general manager? What's the construction manager? What's the sales process? What's the office management process? What management team do I need in place? And that's what many of our boardroom members do, is they do the 100-day holiday prior to retiring or business maturity date. But you can aim for the silver level or you can aim for the bronze level. Many members that join us just need to aim for the bronze level. Stop working nights, stop working weekends, take 100 days off over the year. But maybe you're at the silver level now and you need to identify that 100 days over the course of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely something that I'm, that I'm working on now, and putting things in place to, I guess, make that all make sense and work, I guess. So yeah,
exciting, awesome.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to a builder that's just starting out, or is in some of the situation that you experienced 12 months ago? Like, what would you say to them?
Yes, for sure. Like, listen, we can't do it all ourselves. We definitely need help along the way. I guess I figured that I don't know everything, and I needed that help to become a better business person. So certainly don't be afraid to get out there and accept that you're failing in some areas and you need help. That's the first thing is recognizing that, and then putting the steps in place to get it done. Making that decision to be to spend time on getting it better. It's not going to happen without you. You have to do it. It stops with you. But the other side of it is so much better, right? You'll have a business that's running better, it's smoother, you have less stresses, and that should be more profitable. So and then for the younger guys that are coming up in there, I mean, it's certainly a big process, and don't try and get too big too quickly, I guess is what I'd say, is make sure that you've got the foundation there to build on, so that you've got all those things in place that are going to help you and stop you from falling over. And I guess, the TPB is a perfect example of how you've got that crutch there that can help you, that can provide you with all of that support that you need to put you on the right path to understanding the right systems and processes that you need in your business to grow it successfully and without, too many fails along the way, I would say. So, and believe in yourself. If it's something that you're passionate and you want to do, just, put your best foot forward and really have a good go at it. And I'm sure that you'll be successful.
Awesome, man. Love it.
What would you say, Leon, that's been the number one resource or the number one tool that's helped you the most? If there was one that stood out?
Well, I'd say there's probably a couple, but the biggest thing is, and I'll say, is profit. Your profit pricing for profit. You have to be charging 25% GP, otherwise the business will not be in a great financial position. That is just the simple number that you guys give us, and we know that we have to be doing that. And then I suppose the other one would be probably along the line of the team side of things. I just know without a good team that you'll really fall down on that. And by having a good team, then you can delegate that. So any of those trainings around the teams, if you're trying to build your business, you need the team around you, then spend the time in getting your team, like as far as getting their job descriptions in place so they understand what they've got to do. They know their role in the business, how they're going to work with you as well. So I think they're probably the two biggest things that I've got out of it.
Awesome. Definitely numbers and your team.
Yeah.
Awesome. Leon, you've answered all of my questions. You're an absolute rock star. Fucking love seeing our members succeed, and I love catching up for dinner 3 weeks ago.
That was brilliant. Yeah.
signed this job up, pricing these contracts. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, Leon. Couldn't have to a better guy. I'm so sorry for you, man. You put in the hard work and you're getting the results.
And look, it came from you guys, and that's how I got it done. If it wasn't you guys telling me how to do it, well, I'd still be back, doing the same thing, not getting paid for my quotes, not getting paid for what I should be. So 100%. And look, that night, I mean, we was great catching up in Melbourne. It was lovely to actually see face to face, have that opportunity. But then, I felt that time that we had with those people, that the other TP members that were there, and I did share with them, it was amazing how they gravitated to that and listened really carefully and intently on me sharing that information. And I guess that's what, the benefit of it, and that's what I get enjoyment out of, is not just what I've got out of it, what other people can get out of it as well.
I think that's a good thing about the community is sharing, uplifting others, sharing wins, and you get that confidence. You're like, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. And not only that, I can ask him how he did it, and he's willing to share because he's had other people lift him up, and there's coaches that can help me implement it, and there's templates that I don't have to spend 20 or 30 hours trying to figure out how to invent.
100%. Yeah.
And it's in your best interest to verbalize the things that you've got right so that you remember it. And when you remember it, you repeat successful actions. And that's fundamentally all we need to do in business. Is repeat successful actions and find the successful actions. And you can find them through trial and terror, or you can find them through a playbook that's already in place. But once you've found them, don't fucking forget them and then repeat them. And the best way to remember them is to verbalize them and tell other people about them and to schedule them and make it happen. So, I'm 100% with you. Awesome, man. Any final thoughts, final words before we wrap this up?
Look, I just want to say to everyone out there in the community, it's been awesome, with having you guys there as a support for me as far as a business owner is concerned. There are so many great members out there that I've really seen grow along the way and help me to be better as a business as well. So I just want to say a big thanks to everyone, because without them, it certainly wouldn't have been as easy as what it is now. So a huge shout out to all of the other TPB members out there. Thanks again for helping to bring me along the way as well.
Love it.
You're a star.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate you,
Leon.
bro.